After a very newsworthy Saturday night's main event this past weekend, on the post show, Triple H sat there on the panel, and Triple H does what he has done quite a number of times in the past, especially this year. He said that tonight would mark the start of a new era here in WWE and here on Monday Night Raw. And I might actually take him seriously if we didn't get a new era from him about half a dozen other times this year. I would like to show you a graphic, and I wish I knew who put this together, so you'll have to forgive me. But this was linked on Reddit somewhere. I want to show you a timeline of the WWE eras as they currently exist. Now, of course, we can't pretend that wrestling was first created in 1985. But usually when people talk about the WWE eras, they start with the golden era, which began in 85. It's like the Hulkamania era, right? We have the golden era. Then we went from the golden era to the new generation era. Yeah, it was partially an error. Then we go to the attitude era, right? Oh my God, all the fans that were watching wrestling every single week on TV. It was amazing. 10, 11 million people watching between WWF and WCW. From the Attitude Era, we went to the Ruthless Aggression Era. And then after the Ruthless Aggression Era came the PG Era. I know that's all your favorite. Then after the PG Era, they started calling it the Reality Era. And then after the Reality Era, I'm not quite sure, it's a little fuzzy when the Reality Era came to an end, but we had this, I guess the first of the new eras, which was kind of at the turn of the decade. And then as you can see, ever since then, and a lot of this is under Triple H's purview, look at all the little individual eras that we have had since then. It just seems like we get a new era every other month. It's unbelievable. I mean, just in the last couple of months, you go back to the November 3rd episode of Monday Night Raw, and what did Triple H say? It's a new landscape. He tried to come up with a new word. It's a new landscape starting tonight. SmackDown, only 10 days ago, December 5th, said that night show would mark the beginning of a new era. And tonight, we have the December 15th episode of Monday Night Raw, and it's a new era. And as I am sitting here, I'm just wondering, what exactly is so new about it? What exactly makes this era so radically different from all the ones that came before it just this year alone? I'm waiting to find out. I'm not quite sure. You know, I understand promoters have to promote, but my God, this is to Triple H as the big announcement is to Tony Khan when it comes to AEW. And at least he has been good about that recently. Triple H, not so much. Now, they also taped this week's SmackDown, for those of you who don't know. And there will be no spoilers here, but they taped this week's SmackDown before Raw tonight. If you were wondering why the crowd sounded so dead for, not the entire show, but for large parts of the show tonight, that probably had a little something to do with it, because they would have sat through a couple of hours of SmackDown before we even got to Raw tonight. And actually, the last two episodes of SmackDown for the year are taped. So the show coming up on Friday is already in the can. And then I believe this Friday, they are taping Raw for next week and SmackDown for the following week. That would be Christmas week. So there are no more live SmackDowns until that first episode on January 2nd. Just be aware of that. But my guess would be that had a little something to do, maybe with how dead this crowd felt during some of the matches tonight. One thing the crowd was not dead for, one thing the crowd was actually very much alive for, was Gunther. Coming off of his win, retiring John Cena on Saturday night's main event. Boy, was he hated in this building, as he would have been because he beat John Cena in his final match. Regardless of how it happened, he beat John Cena, and so naturally, he comes out tonight and he gets nuclear heat from the crowd. He could barely contain his smile. He was so happy. He had to just be dancing for joy on the inside. It's what every heel lives for. It's the Dominic Mysterio heat. Every heel lives for that kind of heat. And we also had something that I wasn't expecting on the show tonight. We had the reveal of the Mystery Man. I thought they were going to hold off until January 5th. Wait until that World Heavyweight Championship match. But no, we had the reveal, or I should say, of at least one of the Mystery Men, because we don't know that there won't be more. Maybe they want you to think that we know who the Mystery Man is, but then come January 5th, all of a sudden there's another Mystery Man, and maybe that other Mystery Man actually helps Braun Breaker win the World Heavyweight Championship. Although that may not be likely, given that apparently he's rumored to be one of the favorites to win the Royal Rumble. But regardless, we got a Mystery Man revealed on the show tonight, and that Mystery Man turned out to be Daniel Garcia. Oh, wait. Oh, no, I stand corrected. That is Austin Theory. Austin Theory, another win for Meltzer. I mean, hey, if you're going to beat up on the guy, you got to give him credit when he's right. And it was quite some time before Survivor Series, many weeks before Survivor Series, that Meltzer and the Observer reported that the initial plans for War Games had Austin Theory on the men's side, which didn't make any sense because Austin Theory has been off television for most of this year. Why would Austin Theory be on Team Vision in War Games? And then on the women's side, he was the one who mentioned Lash Legend. We got Lash Legend. And the only reason that this guy right here was not in War Games, although he did a run-in, was because Seth Rollins got hurt. And it blew up all the plans for the War Games match. But at the end of the day, Dave got it right. Austin Theory. Now, this doesn't mean that Austin Theory is now just a card-carrying member of the Vision. They left it a little nebulous there at the end of the show. Is he going to be part of the group? Is he trying to get in their good graces? What's going to happen? We'll find out. But I swear to you, when he pulled off his mask and we saw the top of his bald head, I thought for sure it looked like Daniel Garcia. Like, what is going on? Don't tell me that the Death Riders and the Vision have formed some sort of pact. Please don't tell me. But no, it's Austin. He looks a little bit different, but it is Austin Theory. So what did we have on this show? The key things. We had Gunther coming out and getting heat, coming off of his win over John Cena on Saturday. We had the Mystery Man reveal, and we had a great promo from CM Punk, because this was Punk's first appearance on Raw since War Games, and this was his response to Braun Breaker and what Breaker has been saying about him and his wife over the last couple of weeks. Punk was in rare form tonight, which is always when he's at his best on the microphone, when he's angry and pissed off and all riled up at somebody. So I thought the CM Punk promo, honestly, was, outside of the Gunther stuff, the best part of the entire show. That was great. Unfortunately, there wasn't a whole lot else on this show that I would call great. It was okay. You know, there were parts of it that were solid. There was a lot of it that bored me, frankly. And it's also mid-December. I don't expect any of these shows to knock my socks off. I mean, we're kind of in this lame duck period now. Everything was building to John Cena's retirement match, right? That's what everything was built around, including a tournament that was taking place on television over a period of weeks. Well, now John Cena is gone. And this big World Heavyweight Championship match that they're promoting is still a few weeks away, still 3 weeks away. We're heading into Christmas. We're heading into New Year's. I'm not really expecting a whole lot. And now we're heading into a bunch of taped shows. So what we got tonight was pretty much what I would have expected. I'm not exactly expecting them to hit a home run here at the end of the year with these shows. This is your Raw on Netflix review. It is Monday, December 15th, 2025. I am the Solomonster. Thank you guys for hanging out with me here on a Monday night. Like and subscribe. Picked up a lot of new subscribers this weekend, so if you are hanging out with us for the first time, I salute you. I welcome you. Super chats are open. You send them in, you'll see them popping up on screen here in a little bit, and I will be reading all of your messages. There he is. There's the new $10 one, the Super SAIYAN Cena. I hope I said that right. But yes, I will be reading all of your messages a little bit later on. And also just be aware, again, 'tis the season. If you would like to gift a channel membership to one person or 5 people or 10 people or 20 people, you may do so. We had a bunch of gifted memberships this weekend, which was very cool to see. I know some people are sampling some of the bonus content and the emojis and stuff. So anyway, if you would like to do so, you may go ahead and do so. So let's get into this show here, because I have a very early wake up in the morning. We got a retrospective from Saturday night's main event to open tonight's show, including footage of John Cena, very politely tapping out to Gunther, the love tap heard around the world. And then Gunther was out to the ring to kick things off to the expected mega heat. There was a sign that was visible on camera as he was coming out to the ring that said, Triple H sucks. Big Triple H fan, this guy was. Gunther bypassed the ring. He didn't even go into the ring. He walked around the ring, and he went over to where the announcers were, and he stood up on the announce desk, and he reveled in the booze. He was showering in the booze. Well, now that I say that, out loud, makes it sound like Gunther is a wino or something. No, I don't think Gunther has a drinking problem. I don't think that's the case. Showering in the booze is what Steve Austin used to do on these shows. No, he was showering in the jeers, in the heat from the crowd. So he gets into the ring, and the music stopped, and he posed on the turnbuckle, still soaking it all in, all the "you suck" chants. And I will say there were a decent number of people that I noticed that were applauding him, I guess out of respect. So it wasn't all booze. There were people who were showing their respects for Gunther. Then they started chanting, "You tapped out at him," which, I mean, technically he did, to Jey Uso. See, that's where I would have improvised. When the crowd started chanting, "You tapped out, you tapped out," with a smile on my face, I would have looked out at the crowd. I would have said, well, that's true, but so did he. Then I would have dropped the mic and I would have walked out. But I understand why they didn't do that. I understand it, but that would have been a great comeback. I will say, though, he will never live that down. The fact that he tapped out to Jey Uso at WrestleMania this year, no matter how many people he retires over the next year or two, he will never live that down. But he said he did what he said he would do. He said he made John Cena give up. And when he gave up, he said that he tapped out like a little bitch. And with that, he dropped the mic and he laughed as he left the ring. This was his, "this is my yard now" moment. That's what this was. So he exits the ring. I would say he made it, about halfway down the ring maybe? Or down the aisle before he stormed back to the ring to once again pose on the ropes. He ran it back like Jey Uso. Yeet. Yes, he was running it back. Except this was good. I enjoyed this. So then he left the ring again, and this time he made it all the way down the aisle to the stage before walking back to ringside and standing back on top of the announce desk. And he took the microphone and he said, "I made John Cena tap out like a little bitch." He goes, "It is my time now. I will forever be the man that made John Cena give up." He dropped the microphone and he left. And the camera followed him all the way to the back. It followed him through the gorilla position into the backstage area. He ran into Otis and Tozawa, who were not happy with him. And Gunther said, they were like, "I bet you feel pretty good right now." And Gunther said, "Actually, I do." And he kept on walking. Before then, he ran into R-Truth, who looked at him and called him a piece of trash. So he kept walking and he ran into Adam Pearce, who asked him, "Are you proud? Are you proud of yourself?" And he was pretty proud of himself. He goes, "You walk all over that man's legacy because you know he's not coming back." He said, "That doesn't make you the ring general. That makes you an asshole. And you're done for the night. You can take your exit. The exit's over there." So he went and found the exit. And he's walking out into the parking lot. And he sees AJ Styles is leaning up against his rental car. So he asks AJ, "Is there anything you want to tell me?" AJ doesn't say anything. He just steps aside. Gunther got into his car. He rolled down the window. He said, AJ, and he did the "you can't see me." And he had a nice hearty laugh as he drove off. Now, you see, AJ should have cut his brakes or something. So that way, when he went to go drive off, he can't stop and he crashes into the production truck or something. That's what he should have done. You know what AJ Styles was doing here? He was looking into his future. When he had that little stare down here with Gunther, he was looking into his 2026 is what he was looking at. He will suffer the same fate to this man that John Cena did. The only question is, does it happen at WrestleMania? Does he want his farewell match to happen at WrestleMania? We did not get a John Cena farewell WrestleMania. His last WrestleMania, he won number 17. You would think this would be a big celebratory thing, but they fucked it all up. But you would also think a star of his magnitude, you would want to have your retirement match, if you can book out your entire year, you would want to have it on the biggest stage possible. And we didn't get that. It went from January to December. AJ Styles has said that in the past that his contract is up before WrestleMania. So unless he has signed an extension already, his contract may be up in a couple months. Now, I don't expect him to, walk into AEW or anything like that. If anything, I'm sure he'll sign an extension for Mania. But that's the question. Does he want to stick around for Mania only? Or does he want to, does he feel like he can go until SummerSlam? Does he want to go the entire year? Kind of like Cena did before he hangs it up. That's really the only question. I don't know. I don't know what he's going to do. I think a WrestleMania finale for him would make a lot of sense. And I think Gunther as his final opponent would make a lot of sense because it's a match we've not seen before. Forget this whole storyline of Gunther is going to be the guy to retire all these different legends. It's genuinely a match that I don't believe they've done before that I would like to see AJ have. But now with this new gimmick that Gunther has, if they do it, it almost has to be his last match. So that's what he was looking into today. He was looking into his future. But this was a great segment. It was very reminiscent of Roman Reigns coming out on Raw the night after he beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania. And I want you to think about this. Think about all the heat that Roman Reigns got in that segment, okay, back in 2017. When he walked out on Raw the next night, it was about 8 minutes straight. It was insane. Okay, I will tell you, because I could feel it. I was a part of it. It was insane, the heat that man got. And all he did was beat The Undertaker. He didn't end the streak. You would think he came out the next night, he was public enemy number one because he broke the streak. And I mean, at least then I can almost understand it because clearly they were positioning Roman Reigns as the star of the future. So if you were ever going to break The Undertaker's streak, ideally you would do it with somebody like that. But that's not even what they did. And he got an insane amount of heat. So I mentioned that because my point is, and I know I'm going to hear from people, well, you see, this is why they had to do the finish the way they did on Saturday. No, they didn't. They did not have to do the finish that way. And I understand now he gets to come out and say, I made him submit. I made him tap out like a bitch. That's great. Cool. Lean into it. You have to now. The damage is done. You've already done it. Of course you have to lean into it and capitalize on it. But my point is, if you would have beaten John Cena, tap out or no tap out, he would have gotten an insane amount of heat on the show tonight. It doesn't change anything. They could have more fun with it now. I mean, hell, they could make a new t-shirt for Gunther. Tapped out like a bitch. I don't know if they would put that on a t-shirt. But the point is, he was going to get an insane amount of heat so long as he walked out there with that big smirk and that big smug smile on his face, leaning into it and saying, I'm the man who put John Cena out of WWE. I'm the man who retired your hero. That's it. And the boos will rain down. The heat will be molten hot, regardless. But I know some people are going to try to use this as an example of why it had to be done. It couldn't be done any other way. It had to be done that way. Whatever rationale you want to use to justify it is fine. You will never convince me that if that finish was done any other way, so long as he beat John Cena, that he would not have had the same amount of heat coming out tonight that he had? The answer is yes, he would have. And it was great. It was great to see a heel out there being a heel and reveling in it. And again, they did what they did. And so now what they need to do is have him go out there and talk that shit. Just like he did tonight, and call him a bitch and talk that shit and really lean into it. Gunther now should be positioned. And Triple H is a big fan of his, clearly. He's been very protected. They always go out of their way to say how more than 80% of his time on the main roster, if not in WWE altogether, NXT, NXT UK, 80% of the time, this man has been a champion. And whatever the percentage is now, because he hasn't been a champion since SummerSlam. But he's in that rarefied air now. He needs to be positioned the way that Brock Lesnar was when he first came back to WWE and he came out of the UFC world. There was something about Brock that was different. He felt authentic. He felt legit in a way that nobody else on the roster did. And they protected him. He was part-time, but they protected him. He was a special attraction. I'm not saying that Gunther should only wrestle 5 times a year, but now he needs to be in that same sphere. He needs to be looked at and protected in the same way because he's an attraction now in a way that he wasn't before. He gets to go around for the rest of his life saying that I'm the man who retired John Cena. Nobody else can say that. And he's going to have that heat for a while. Take advantage of it. Don't squander it. There have been other people that have beaten John Cena in big matches, and it didn't amount to a hill of beans, right? Austin Theory, Solo Sikoa. I mean, we can go through different names, and it just didn't mean anything. There was no follow-up to it, but they also didn't see those guys as a Gunther, right? So I actually am pretty optimistic that they're going to do right by this guy just because of the way he's been protected. I think Triple H looks at him, he's like a Triple H guy, right? If you're a Triple H guy, which I think he is, you're probably going to be okay. So this was a fun segment. It was brief. He didn't say a whole lot. He didn't have to. He said what needed to be said, and he left with a smile on his face. So I thought this was great. And again, just ride that wave. I don't know what's next for him. I don't know what they're going to do with him at the Rumble. I don't know what they're going to do with him at WrestleMania. I was thinking Brock. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I mean, there's any number of directions. I mentioned AJ. Right? I mean, if AJ truly is going out at Mania, then it almost has to be AJ Styles. And I think that would be the right move, and I think it would be a great match. Now, after this, the Usos were out through the crowd next for their match with the New Day, their first match against each other in 3 years. Jay was ready to run it back, but he was interrupted by the New Day's music, so he did not get a chance to run it back. Fans were not happy about this. So the New Day took control ahead of an early break. Jimmy made a comeback as soon as they returned. Grayson Waller, he was at ringside, though, and so he ran distraction that allowed New Day to take over again. Jay made a hot tag. He missed a stinger splash, and he collided headfirst into the top part of the ring post casing. No-sold it. Had no effect. And Wade Barrett said it's that Samoan skull. He's got the hard head, so it had no effect on him. So instead, he put down Woods with a super kick. Jay followed with a flying crossbody, and that led into a second commercial break. New Day took control again during the break. Jay started his comeback as soon as they returned, but he got tripped up by Waller, and finally the referee ejected Grayson Waller. So the Usos handed out super kicks to Woods and Kofi before hitting Woods with a double Uso splash for a near fall. Kingston shoved Jay into the ring steps, and then Woods followed with a tornado DDT to Jimmy off the apron. New Day followed with their midnight hour finish on Jimmy, but Jay broke up the pin at the very last second. Jimmy came back with super kicks. Jay nailed Woods with a spear outside of the floor, and then Jimmy speared Kingston in the ring, and the Usos hit him with a 1D to win, with the former World Heavyweight Champion pinning the former WWE champion. It was Jey Uso pinning Kofi Kingston here. Pretty boring match, honestly, until the finish. It didn't help that it had 2 breaks in the middle of it. I don't know, something about this match. I'm not saying it was a bad match. It was just a boring match. but the Usos pick up the win. Not much else to say about it. 3 years since these two teams have wrestled. We needed that break. If you remember, I mean, as great as the matches were that they had, I mean, we went through a period just like in the early, I don't know, late 2010s, early 2020s, where it just felt like they just ran that feud into the ground. And there still has not been a match that they have had as good as the one they had inside Hell in a Cell that one year. And I don't remember what year it was. I want to say it was 2017. Don't quote me on that. So they've had some great matches, but we needed the break. So they announced that Rhea Ripley and Io Sky are going to get their match for the Women's Tag Team Championships on January 5th. First Raw of the new year. Same night that CM Punk is defending against Braun Breaker. And then they pitched it to the Kabuki Warriors in a video promo, which they cut mostly in Japanese with English subtitles talking about Rhea and Io. They replayed last week's attack on LA Knight. Yeah, poor LA Knight. He's going to be gone for a while. Of course, that ended with him on the receiving end of a tsunami splash on top of a car. Right on top of the roof of a car last week. And he had to be strapped up and loaded into an ambulance and taken to a hospital. And so we got the update here. They are now claiming that, among other injuries, he suffered a cracked sternum. And so he is going to be out for an indefinite period of time. So long, LA Knight. We'll see you in 2026. May the new year be nicer to you than 2025 was, is all I have to say. Backstage in the Vision locker room, Logan Paul was gushing over what Bronson Reed did to LA Knight last week. Braun Breaker, though, came over and said, hey, we need to talk about CM Punk. So Logan agreed, and he assumed that the Masked Man would show up to help. Paul Heyman entered, and he said he didn't know who the Masked Man was, but they had a lot on their plate, so he would take the help if the Masked Man wanted to help him out and be on the same page. Heyman also made a very curious comment in here. He said that LA Knight's friends would be coming for the Vision. Can you help me out here? What friends does LA Knight have? Did you not watch the show last week? LA Knight was out there in the main event, and he was double teamed and triple teamed and beaten down and squashed by Bronson Reed. And that's before they even attacked him backstage. That was out in the ring. He got helped to the back and attacked again. You know, there's a lot of wrestlers in the backstage area. Nobody came to help LA Knight. They beat him up. They put him through a table. They squashed him on top of a car. I didn't see any friends. Did you see any friends? LA Knight has no friends. So I don't know what friends Paul Heyman was referring to, but I was amused by this comment. So Breaker pulls Heyman aside. He goes, can I talk to you for a second? So he pulls Heyman off to the side. And he says, I want to take out CM Punk tonight. Right? He wants to take him out if he shows up. If he shows up, even though earlier in the show they had shown that CM Punk, they showed him arriving at the building. So Heyman urged him to wait for January 5th. What are you going to attack him now for? 21 days. If you attack him now, there may not be a championship match. Just hold off. Stay cool. 21 days. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, they were on their way to the ring for a promo. They got down to ringside, and when they did, Asuka was in the front row and spat mist in Rhea's eyes, burning her eyes and blinding her, the deadly mist, and hopefully not making her pregnant, as the mist has done to other women in the past. So Kairi Sane appeared, and they beat up both of them before Asuka pulled Rhea into the ring and held her down so that Kairi could go up top for the insane elbow. Before she could come off, though, for the elbow, Io Sky crawled back into the ring and laid across Rhea. She's trying to protect her friend. Kairi said, I don't give a shit. So she jumped off the top, insane elbow right to the spine of Io Sky. And Asuka and Kairi, they left as officials tended to Rhea and Io in the ring, and that took us into a commercial break. Wade Barrett, on commentary, referred to this as an experimental mist that Asuka herself created that he said was very caustic. An experimental mist. So she's a scientist as well. I want her to come out on the show next week in a white lab coat. This is a very, let me tell you something about Asuka. I mean, I already thought she was great, and she's a supremely talented woman. But evidently she's a wrestler. She's a scientist. She's a graphic designer. She's a former video game journalist. She owns and operates her own hair salon, I believe, back in Japan. She's a YouTuber. Is there anything this woman can't do? She does it all. She's fantastic. Now she's a scientist. We had Maxxine Dupri in her very first defense of the Women's Intercontinental Championship, defending her title against Ivy Nile. And this was Ivy's first match on Raw since June 16th. And she is challenging here for the Intercontinental Championship. I've been loving these dungeon vignettes that they've been airing over the last couple of weeks for Maxxine with her and Natty, even though they should have been airing these before she won the title, not after. But that's neither here nor there. But, you know, Ivy comes in here in this match, and they went to break early here in the bout. And if it wasn't for Joe Tessitore and Wade Barrett speaking during the commercial break, I would have thought that maybe I hit the button and put the show on mute by accident. Like, that's how deathly silent that it was during this match. And not just during the commercial, but that's where it was really noticeable. Like when they went to the break, and I'm like, so I turned away for a moment, and like I'm working on my notes, and I'm like, I don't hear anything. I hear like white noise, and I look, and I'm like, oh, nobody cares. Nobody's reacting to anything that these women are doing. I felt bad for them. I really did. I felt bad for them. Nobody cared about this. You know, it's almost as if nobody cared about the woman who has not wrestled a match on this show in 6 months, suddenly appearing out of nowhere and challenging for a championship. I can't imagine why people don't care. Ivy had her in position for, it looked like a crossroads type position under the arm. Maxxine, though, threw her legs up around Ivy's head and took her over with a head scissors. And then Maxxine fired up. She went to work with some strikes. She hit a perfect plex. Not so perfect, I guess, because she kicked out. Ivy performed a hanging dragon sleeper that she had to let go of because they were in the ropes. Nile then had Dupri in the Tree of Woe when she went up top. Maxxine, though, reached up and then flung her down to the mat. Moments later, Dupri applied an ankle lock. Ivy kicked out of it. Maxxine, though, reapplied the hold. Nile kicked her off. Maxxine put her down with a kick and then applied it for a third time. And this time she grapevined the leg, and she forced Ivy to tap out. I don't know what's wrong with Ivy Nile. She tapped out here, and she didn't even have a smile on her face as she was tapping. She still has much to learn. This was not great. This was not great. Maxxine is trying. She was trying so hard. She fired up, and she was trying so hard to get the crowd into this. And they did. I mean, they got a little live when she was making her comeback and firing up. They flared up a little bit, kind of like a rash. But she's still got a ways to go. I mean, if you watch her in the ring, she's made a lot of improvements, but she's still very, no pun intended, she's still very raw. You know, she's still very green. She's learning on the job. She never had a run in NXT. I always remind people of this. I mean, it's like when you watch Raw and SmackDown, they really position Raw and SmackDown as the elite, right? Whenever they call up somebody new from NXT. And so when you have somebody who completely bypassed NXT, but was really a prime candidate for NXT. I mean, that's what developmental is for. And she just zipped right over it. And now it's like, oh, okay, you're going to wrestle. You're not just going to be eye candy, or not just going to be a valet or a manager. You're going to wrestle, right? It's trial by fire. She's been learning on the job now for a few years at a time when they are having fewer and fewer live events. And there's not much else that she can do. You know, she's going to go out there and just learn and train on her days off and try to get better. But the thing is, like, she'll throw kicks, for example, and it looks like she's in quicksand. She's throwing these kicks. They're very slow. It's something that she needs to work on just watching her matches. But there's something there, like when she fired up and, hit some of those, other moves that she was doing, like you could see something there. She hasn't put all the pieces together yet. But this Intercontinental Championship really is, or should be, designed to help get people over like her. Becky Lynch put a lot of work into building up that Intercontinental Championship. She did a great job with it. And now she doesn't have it anymore. And so now you have people like an Ivy Nile and a Maxxine Dupri and maybe others as well who are a little bit higher, like a Roxanne Perez or a Raquel. Get them in the mix. It's all up to them now. You hope the title was elevated enough that by holding it, it will have some value. I don't know that it's going to work out that way, but that's the idea. That's why this championship was conceived, because women like this did not have anything to fight for. She wasn't wrestling for the world championship, so what are they fighting for? They're fighting for this. Unfortunately, nobody cared about this. It'll take time, but you can't throw her in the ring with somebody else who hasn't been seen on the show in 6 months and expect people to care. It's not how this works. They have no reason to be invested. We had a video package showcasing the NXT stars who were a part of Saturday night's main event this weekend. The NXT champion, Obafemi, who looked very impressive in there for the limited time he got with Cody Rhodes. Sol Ruca, also big future ahead of her. Joe Hendry, who is officially full-time WWE, or NXT technically. So he got some highlights. And the team of Javon Evans and Leon Slater. And to think about this. Triple H's original idea was to do a 2-hour John Cena tribute show on Saturday. It was John Cena who really lobbied for the NXT stars to have a place on that show. So we don't see Obafemi. We don't see Javon Evans. We don't see Sol Ruca. If John Cena doesn't step up and say, you know what, it shouldn't all be about me. I understand it's my night. I have to have the spotlight on me, but let's shine a spotlight on these up-and-coming talents as well. Can you imagine if they did a 2-hour, just a 2-hour tribute show to John Cena, and then they gave us that finish at the end of the night? That would have been even worse. So thank you, Cena. We have him to thank for all of these NXT stars that got a little bit of shine on the show on Saturday. Backstage, Adam Pearce congratulated Javon Evans, saying that he had eyes on him all over the world, and he did not disappoint. So then El Grande Americano showed up with Rayo and Bravo. And Americano spoke in Spanish to Pearce. Evans said that he understood enough Spanish to know that he was talking smack about him. Pearce asked Evans, you're free next week? And he said he was. So he booked Javon Evans against Pete Dunne, or shall I say Rayo, one-on-one on Raw next week. Now, if you were going to give me Javon Evans against Pete Dunne, I would say, man, that's going to be a really good match. I still think this should be really good, but he's doing the Rayo nonsense. So, I don't know that he's going to be wrestling a Pete Dunne match, but it is Pete Dunne under the mask. So Pete Dunne and Javon Evans, it should be a good match next week. After a commercial break, we had the world.
My curiosity is killing me just like a cat.
Oh, wow.
Killed by the curiosity, yeah.
We had the Macho Man, Randy Savage. Before we go any further, Oz and Glorious, thank you for that $13 Macho Man drop. I appreciate it. Again, I'm going to get to all your super chats here in a little bit. So get them on Pete Dunne, D-O-N-E. Yeah, well, kind of feels that way, doesn't it? After a break, the World Heavyweight Champion, CM Punk, marched down to the ring with a purpose. Again, his first time on Raw here since we saw him as part of the War Games match. He was there at the end of Saturday night's main event, also on Saturday. So he forgoes his usual entrance theatrics. Is it great to be alive on a Monday night? All that stuff he usually does. So he means business when he rips the mic flag, the Raw mic flag off the mic. The last time he did that, he called Dwayne a bald fraud. Okay, so he was about to get hot here. He said that he was forced to miss 2 consecutive Raws since he wasn't medically cleared to compete or to fly, which is not true. He was filming for Netflix. I don't know if he was filming 2 different things or filming the same thing, but he filmed what he had to film, and now he's back. Said War Games was painful, but not as painful as sitting on his couch and listening to Braun Breaker. Punk calls Braun a cross-eyed Nepo baby and says that brains don't run in his family. He didn't sign up for board games. He signed up for War Games. Braun had the audacity to talk about how easy it was to pin Punk. Breaker says that he wants 2011 CM Punk, but the truth is that he can't handle 2025 Punk. Not without a lot of help from his friends, Brock and Bronson and Drew and their masked man. Says Breaker is in line for a title shot, but he didn't do it alone. Says he's been here many times before. Paul Heyman has gassed up a lot of young wrestlers that have wilted under the lights. If he had a nickel for every time he faced somebody gassed up like Braun, he would have a pocket full of dimes. And speaking of dimes, and this is where he really got animated. Said, if you ever mention my wife's name again, this goes from business to personal faster than you can run. And it won't be about the belt anymore because I'm going to rip your eyes out. I'm going to rip your eyes out of your head and I'm going to piss on your single-digit IQ brain. See, now that's not PG. I feel like Netflix would probably black out the screen. That's what I think. Punk would challenge Breaker to show up alone to fight him for the title, but he knew that he didn't have the balls. So he invited Breaker to invite the Vision and invite your dumb father and your even dumber brother and his even dumber brother Scott, because he would need all the help he could get. Punk would win and Heyman would leave Breaker to move on to the next big thing. The next big thing. We already had the next big thing. Meanwhile, Bronson Reed would be forced to do TikToks with the YouTube scammer. All Braun would have left was Dumb and Dumber, his father and his uncle. And even with Steiner math, they would realize that GTS equals 1, 2, 3. Bravo, man. I gotta say, yeah, bravo. That's a promo. That's a money promo. That's a money promo right there. That is a what you call a response for Braun Breaker here. This is the version of CM Punk that I like seeing on the show because we talk about what a great promo he is so many times this year. Really, outside of the Drew feud last year, so many times we see him out there, and his promos are not bad, but it's not a CM Punk promo. The CM Punk promo is the one where he just viciously lashes out at somebody and kind of grabs you by the throat and pulls you in. We don't get enough of those. And I felt like this was one of those. And this was needed. I've enjoyed the Braun Breaker promos over the last couple of weeks. And we need to see more of that from him. So we got an appropriate response here from Punk. Right now, they're doing everything right. They're doing everything they need to do as far as really building up and promoting that championship match for January 5th. There's only so much they can do. And again, we have, 3 weeks left. Probably a couple of tape shows. I'm not expecting a whole hell of a lot. Probably some pull-aparts and stuff like that, but that's about it. So what do? Right? You sell the match on the mic. And there's still nobody better at doing that than CM Punk. So this was great. Outside of the Gunther stuff, this was the best part of the entire show. I love this. Now backstage, Dominic Mysterio was hanging out with Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez. Not a bad night. Liv wanted to know where's Finn. And Dom said that he's with JD McDonough, who is going to be out for a while. So that's legit, by the way, for those of you who didn't see. On his social media, JD McDonough posted a surgery photo. He was in a hospital bed, and then there was an image of him with his right hand all wrapped up. So he had some sort of surgery either on his hand or his wrist. I'm not sure which. But he said he was getting a few things fixed, and he wouldn't be gone for very long. So he's going to be out for a while. Didn't sound like he's going to be gone for too long, but what that means, I don't know. That could be 6 weeks. That could be 2 months, 3 months. I don't know. But McDonough is going to be gone for a while. So Liv walked over to Raquel, said that her bestie is going to win the Women's World Championship tonight. Raquel tells Liv and Roxanne she wants to handle Stephanie all by herself. And Roxanne will take care of Bayley next week. And Bayley and Lyra will be out of the picture so that she and Liv can win the women's tag team titles. And then Raquel says we will all run Monday Night Raw. And that led into the Women's World Championship match. Stephanie Vaquer defending her title against Raquel Rodriguez. Who makes more appearances? Stephanie Vaquer or the Bukkake Ghost that we sometimes see here on the streams? Because I have said that Stephanie has been like a ghost on these shows. But then I realize in the Super Chats we have an actual ghost. And I'm not sure who we see more often. One of the resolutions I would like to see made for 2026, we get more Stephanie Vaquer visible on these shows. We get her more involved. We get her more competition. She has been a ghost on most weeks on this show. So it was nice to have her actually defending her championship here. After an early break, we got a hanging armbar over the top rope by Stephanie, but Raquel powered her back up into the ring and then down to the mat for 2. Raquel goes to the middle rope. Stephanie, though, evades the Vader bomb. And then came the Devil's Kiss, which got the first and only real reaction that anything got in this entire match. Unfortunately, it's kind of become the story of a lot of Stephanie's matches. Meteora in the corner by Vaquer. She goes for the SVB. Raquel, though, gets out, takes her down. Stephanie gets another armbar in the corner, and Raquel flips to the floor. Raquel catches Stephanie on the crossbody that follows. Stephanie, though, evades the ring post, sends Raquel into it instead. And what happens next? Stephanie is attacked from behind, not by Roxanne or Liv Morgan, by Nikki Bella. She will not let this go. She attacks Stephanie from behind for the disqualification, and then in the ring, she lays out Stephanie with the Rack Attack 2.0. It's a new era, everybody. Nikki Bella is still challenging for the Women's World Championship. She's not letting this go. She's still in the mix. She's still in the hunt. It's a new era. Who asked for this? I thought we were moving on to the next challenger. Apparently, this is going to continue into the new year. Unfortunately, the match itself, it had its moments. I thought it was solid. Didn't have a lot of heat. Was not really given too much time. So all I can say about it, it was solid at best. Underwhelming, but solid. Backstage, Adam Pearce says he doesn't believe Paul Heyman when Heyman tells him he doesn't know who's under the mask. And he wants to know who it is. Who is under the mask? Heyman says Seth Rollins. No, Becky Lynch. No, Nick Aldis. Says, okay, it's Bruno Sammartino. Another ghost. He says, I don't know. And so long as this person's vision is in line with our vision, he says, I don't mind it. Now, if you don't mind, I have to go prepare Logan Paul for his match tonight with Rey Mysterio. So off he goes, and Pierce is yelling at him, I want an answer by the end of the night about who the masked man is. Rhea Ripley walks in, and she's got a blue face. Not as blue as it was when she was misted a few months ago, but she's still wiping the mist from her face, and she just says, she demands a match with Asuka. And Pierce did not hesitate. He made it official. So on Raw next week, it will be Rhea Ripley and Asuka one-on-one. Elsewhere in the back, Rey Mysterio was walking when he ran into CM Punk, who told him that if he doesn't mind, he's got his back tonight. And Rey said he appreciated the help. Now backstage, AJ Styles and Dragon Lee. They were with Jackie Redmond, and she asked them about the Usos beating the New Day earlier tonight. They said last they checked, we are the tag team champions. And they were going to go talk to Adam Pearce. Okay. I presume to go ask for a match with the Usos, but I mean, it wasn't really specified. But I assume that's what he was going off to do. Yes, the experimental mist. You know, Rhea better hope that there's nothing wrong with that mist. It is experimental. It does not have FDA approval. They're going to have to put a black box warning on that mist. Nikki Bella then showed up. Thought we were done with her, huh? She shows up with Jackie, and she says that I am not apologizing for putting people beneath me in their place. She says, I am so sick that none of these women appreciate the road that I paved. She says, I am a legend in this industry. And Stephanie and Raquel, you should be shining my boots. Moving on. In the back, Bayley congratulated Maxxine on retaining her Intercontinental title. Maxxine showed off her bloody finger. I guess it looked like she lost a nail. So she went off. And Lyra Valkyria showed up. And she asked Bayley how she's feeling after her loss to Soloruka on Saturday. And she was very down about it. Bayley says that she was thinking the stuff that Asuka said to her a few weeks ago, maybe there's some truth to it. And Lyra said, wow, so one loss is enough to get you down these days, huh? And she gave Bayley a shove. And she said, it's not the Bayley that I grew up watching. Definitely not the Bayley that I've gotten to know. And the shoves were getting progressively harder and harder. And she kept egging her on. And she said, maybe Asuka was right about one thing. Maybe you are an idiot. And that was it. After that comment, Bayley gave her a hard shove back. And she went off on Lyra. And she was yelling, the only idiot in this room is you. If you think a loss to a rookie is going to stop me from beating Roxanne Perez. Something that you couldn't do. Idiot. So Bayley stormed off. And Lyra smirked and said, there she is. This is like the first bit of actual character development, if you can call it that, with Bayley, or Bayley and Lyra, that we've had in many, many weeks. It actually felt like they were getting away from the character. So now instead of, it's not really a split personality thing so much as, you know, you push her buttons and she just kind of goes off, right? It's like you make her mad. It's like the Hulk, right? And that's at least a little more believable. You know, we don't have any vignettes anymore where we hear her inner voices inside of her head, which is a little ridiculous. So this at least is a little more realistic. But yeah, it's been a while since we've had anything further with Bayley like that. So good. I mean, this was good. And next week she is going to be wrestling Roxanne Perez. And they closed the show with Rey Mysterio one-on-one with Logan Paul. It is nice that Logan at least is committing to this where he is on the show every week. That doesn't mean you have to like him, but you know, before he was very much part-time, he would show up, do a big match, and we wouldn't see him again for months. So at least now, you know, being that he's a part of the vision, you know, he has been on the show every week. Every week since, I think, even before War Games, he has been on the show pretty much for a month straight, 4 or 5 weeks. Rey's belt ended up, the belt he was wearing, ended up on the mat. Logan picked it up and started whipping him with it right in front of the referee. The announcer said that he was risking disqualification. Evidently not. Logan went for a lion salt. Rey got his knees up. There was a commercial break. During the commercial break, Logan tried for what I think was a Bronco Buster. It was not really a Bronco Buster. He just sort of sat there and rested his crotch in Rey's face and then just got up. Maybe he was enjoying himself. I don't know. So they come back from the break. Logan hits the first of the three amigos, then the second of the three amigos. Instead of the third, he places him on the top rope and he follows him up. And Logan did the Eddie shimmy. That's my Eddie shimmy. He tried for a superplex. Rey stuffed it. And then Rey did the Eddie shimmy and a crotch chop before taking Logan down with a sunset bomb. Then he hit a baseball slide that kicked Logan out to the floor. And then Rey did his sliding splash out to the floor on top of Logan. So Rey was in firm control. He puts Logan back in the ring, and of course, here come the Bronze. They don't make it out very far, though, before CM Punk sneaks up behind them with a steel chair, and he hits Reed with it, and he hits Breaker with it, and he kept on them until they all ended up in the back. In the ring, Rey tried for a Rana off the top. Logan was standing in the ring. Logan, though, held on to him, and then just ended up, I think he flipped him over, and Rey went face first down on the mat. So Paul Heyman is right there at ringside, and Logan is motioning to him to give me the knucks, right? Just in case, he says, give me the knucks. So he hands him the brass knucks. He went to go hit Rey with them, and Rey tripped him up into the ropes. He connected with the 619, and the knucks fell off Logan's hand when he got knocked backwards. So Rey looks down, and he sees the knuckles, right? So he reaches down, and he's kind of in the ropes himself, right? Sticking his head out as he's reaching down to put the brass knucks on his hand. And what happens is the masked man appears on the apron and he stomps Rey Mysterio. And then back in the ring, Logan comes off the top with what Joe Test called the Superstar Splash. And he covers him and he gets the win. Logan Paul is victorious. The masked man, he climbs back up on the apron. And Logan is in the ring and he's standing there and he's staring at the masked man. The masked man is staring at him. And the only thing we could tell about the masked man at this point is that he's white, right? He's Caucasian. Because I know some people previously were like, oh, it's Montez Ford. It's this guy. It's that guy. So you could see his eyes, right? So that's all we know. And they're staring at each other. And it looks like he might come into the ring and maybe we're going to get the reveal. Until CM Punk comes running back down to the ring with a chair. And that scares off the masked man. And the masked man jets through the crowd. And he probably made it up like maybe halfway up the steps. And he turns around and the camera's on him. And actually, I'll have to say this. Before he pulled the mask off, all you could see were the eyes, right? I'm looking at his eyes. And for whatever reason, I'm like, wait a minute. This looks like The Miz. There's no way. It can't be. Right? Something about his eyes. I thought it was Miz at first. So then he starts slowly pulling the mask off, the hoodie or the hood, whatever. And then I saw the head, right? It was a mostly shaved head. And I'm like, okay, it's not Miz. But in like the 2 seconds as he was pulling it off and I saw the hair or the lack thereof, I swear to God, I thought it was Daniel Garcia. I was like, what is going on here? And then he looked up and it was Austin Theory. And I showed you the image earlier. I'll put it back up on the screen here so you could see for yourself. Austin Theory with a shaved head. Now back in the ring, Punk had no idea that Braun Breaker was behind him setting up for a spear. And so when he turned around, he got cut in half. And Breaker knelt down over Punk's body. He was holding the World Heavyweight title. And he threatened that if he ever talked about his family like that again, Punk will never stand on 2 feet ever again. And the show closed with Braun Breaker standing over CM Punk, holding the World Heavyweight Championship as Austin Theory looked on in the crowd. It wasn't like he came back down to the ring to join the Vision. He's officially part of the Vision. We don't know that. There was no indication of that. He just had that really like mean mug on his face. Like he was all angry about something, maybe about the lack of reaction, because there was a noticeable lack of reaction here to this reveal. The only thing about this that surprised me, because I always expected it to be Austin Theory. That's what I've been saying. The only thing that surprised me was that they didn't wait until January 5th. I mean, I'm glad that they didn't drag it out. I can't complain that, oh man, I wish they would have dragged it out more. You'll never hear me complaining about Triple H always dragging something out not long enough. Like, no, I'm not going to do that. But I thought they were going to wait. I really did until that first Raw of the new year. On the one hand, I thought this came off really, really lame. It came off very lame the way they did this. On the other hand, this is an opportunity. It's an opportunity for Austin Theory and the writing team to right the wrongs of the past, to correct the sins of the past. And hey, shaving his head, look, cutting his hair worked wonders for Kyle Fletcher. He's like a new man now. Maybe shaving his head will work wonders for Austin Theory. The only thing about that is that his hair was not the problem. I think you and I both know that. His hair was not the problem. Him cashing in his money in the bank on the United States Championship and failing, right? That was a problem. Him wrestling John Cena at WrestleMania and beating John Cena at WrestleMania, which should mean something, and then following it up with absolutely nothing. That's the problem. Putting him in a mid-card comedy team with Grayson Waller, that's the problem. There's a lot of reasons why Austin Theory hit the skids in WWE. And whether you want to say, well, he doesn't have it, or he can't hack it. I don't think we ever really got the full picture to be able to make that determination. He was on his way. Clearly, he was a Vince McMahon guy. Vince McMahon, he was like his pet project. Those are like the last segments on TV where Vince was a character on the show. He was associating with Austin Theory, and I don't know where it would have led. I don't know if it would have amounted to anything, but I don't think he would do that for just anybody. He wouldn't associate himself on television at that stage of his career with just anybody. He was a Vince McMahon guy. He's clearly not a Triple H guy. But now it's been long enough, and Triple H has an opportunity here to actually do something with him and try to make some money with him. And it looks like he's going to take a stab at it, and I hope he does. And I hope it works out. I hope that this is a chance for them to actually try to pull something out of him that was missing before. We could blame creative and everything, but I was still waiting to see that flash of greatness from Austin Theory. I didn't see it. Maybe this and working with Paul Heyman, maybe this will help bring it out of him. He's been there long enough, right? He had a good look. His work is solid. He's a good worker in the ring. He's had good matches, but there was just something missing. And that doesn't mean that, well, he doesn't have it, right? Well, we're going to find out. Give him a chance. Give him a chance. He's going to be part of this faction probably. He's going to have Paul Heyman with him. And if he falls flat on his face after this, then that's it. Because for all the shit that he's been through, he's already damaged goods. I'm not saying he's got no shot. He's got no chance. They're pushing the reset button. I hope it all works out. But if it doesn't, he's going right back down. He ain't coming back up. This is sink or swim right here. This is going to be do or die for Austin Theory. Either this works or it doesn't, and he's gone. That's how I see this. This is like a fucking life raft for him. He's been waiting for this opportunity for a long time. So if he officially ends up joining, that would be Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Logan Paul, Austin Theory. Honestly, that's really all they need. I, though, am not convinced that there is not going to be one more masked man reveal. If you want to expand it to 5, that's the absolute most I would go with this. We don't need another Don Callis family here. 4 is good. 5 is like the maximum I would go to. I'm not convinced we're not done, though, with members of this group. Even though we got a masked man reveal and it was very underwhelming, you heard the reaction, maybe they are saving something for January 5th. And I don't know who that would be. I don't know if that would end up being an NXT star. I think people were willing the Montez Ford thing. It's possible he played the masked man one week. I don't see it happening with him. It's the same thing. Like, there was a period of time where I thought they were going to do something with him as a single. They were kind of testing the waters, and then it went nowhere. And he's another one who I think has a ton of charisma. He's super athletic, and maybe there's real potential there. But there's no indication that they have any interest in exploring it. And I don't know why. I really don't. But for Theory, I hope it works out. Because I really think that for his career, it's do or die for him right now. So that was it. I mean, that was Raw. Some solid stuff. A lot of very boring stuff. The Gunther segment was fun. The Punk promo was great. Match-wise, really nothing to speak of. I wasn't impressed by as far as the matches go, I wasn't impressed by anything tonight. So, pretty quiet night on that front. Let's take a look at the poll. What did you think of Raw and the Mystery Man reveal? 54.6% thumbs up for tonight's show. 45.4% thumbs down. So a slightly positive response. Not exactly overwhelming, but slightly positive here for the show tonight. I should probably open the Super Chat screen. That would make sense, wouldn't it? I think that would. All right, let's take a look at your messages here. This is your time to get them on in. If you want me to read them, if you have something to contribute, go right ahead. If you want to support, it's the best way to do it. And thank you guys, by the way. We had a pretty awesome weekend. The Saturday night's main event review is right around 50,000 views and climbing. And the podcast yesterday got a lot of good reaction and response to that as well. The top 15 matches of John Cena's career. I'll probably be pushing that out to the YouTube channel tomorrow. But that's all from episode 942 this past weekend. So thank you for that. It was a big weekend for the Sound Off. Let's get into your questions here. The Boss Mo Jackson is getting us started here. Hey, Boss Mo Jackson, I hope you're doing well, man. Wants to know Pam Anderson or...
I am the learning tree.
Oh, my God.
Thanks, guys.
Can't get away from this guy. We're going to see him back on TV, I think, very soon. Pam Anderson or Trish Stratus? Prime years. That's a good one. I'm going to go Trish. Pam was a smoke show, but I cannot rank her over Trish Stratus. Tyler says, what are your top 3 song genres and songs? I don't know what the top ones are. I will tell you, though, I'm kind of a mutt when it comes to music. I like all kinds of music. Not a lot of country. But as far as like pop, rock, some rap, R&B, right on down to friggin' synthwave and industrial, I got a weird ear. I like a little bit of everything. I guess for me, though, probably, I mean, I love synthwave, in case you couldn't tell, on these streams. For me, it's probably rock and pop, honestly. You guys know I'm a big, Hall & Oates fan. Out of Touch. Out of Touch is probably my favorite song. I mean, they had a lot of great songs, Out of Touch and Adult Education, Say It Isn't So. We'd be here all night if I was just running through different songs that I love. 80s music, especially. Says, I didn't know Reiner directed Misery and Stand By Me. Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah, he directed a lot of classic movies. He really did. Princess Bride is the one that I grew up on. Love that movie. Had Andre in the movie. Such a great film. What a terrible story. Just awful. The JD likes Steph Vaquer, so who do you like? I like them all. Why narrow it down to just one? I like Rhea, I like Io, I like Stephanie. When you say like, what are we talking about here? Phil, no green shirt guy in the front row tonight. Maybe these TKO ticket prices finally got to him. I think it was the way that John Cena went out. I think that might have finally broken him. Dry Chicken says, to honor Gunther, he is a mean one. Mr. Mean Green General is really a heel. Gunther is the Grinch that stole Christmas from the C Nation. If only YouTube allowed you to play the Grinch song in the background. Well, there's a lot of things I would play if I could. I'd love to. Phil says Maxxine Dupri on my screen equals bathroom break. They haven't won you over, huh? The Boss Mo Jackson, it was stupid to tell us Maxxine got nameplates before her match, but the title is good on the newer talent. It's fresh and different. Her win was too predictable. Yeah, they did tell us Tessator was telling us about her new side plates on her belt right at the beginning of the match. It's like, oh, okay. Guess she's not dropping it for a while. Andre, thank you for the 10. Says, it's sad to hear 20,000 people hijack Cena's last match. Whoever made the call was absolutely the right one. Gunther is that old school heel that is missing in wrestling. He should win the Rumble. I don't see him winning the Rumble because he's not wrestling for the championship. I don't see that happening. And 20,000 people paid a lot of money to be in the building, and they have the right to chant whatever they want to, especially when you pay that much money. I would do the same thing. Alexander Aaron Paul should sue Austin Theory for character infringement. Either Aaron Paul or Justin Timberlake. Bobby's World says, if the Saturday night's main event finish was Cena's idea, man, he just couldn't leave the business without one last terrible idea, could he? LOL. Speaking of terrible. Hey, Alex. What's going on, brother? Hey, look at that. We're up to 8 out of 10 on the bonus goal. We might just get a bonus round of Be the Booker. We already got one guaranteed. Will we get two? Bobby also says, why are all the other wrestlers, kayfabe, mad at Gunther? He didn't do anything wrong. Oh, because he retired their hero. They're all a bunch of marks. So they're all very upset that John Cena got retired by this man. He's gloating at his expense. Hulkling93 says, Solo, it dawned on me that Brock out-doomsdayed Doomsday in 2014 against Cena. We often leave out that Supes still killed Doomsday and saved the day in the end before dying. Well, thank you for the spoiler. I was going to read that. I guess now I don't have to. That's true, though. He makes a good point. Alexander, the Ivy Nile silence was sad. And you know, when Zoe Stark comes back, you won't be able to hear the crickets. When Zoe Stark comes back, it's going to be the same thing. And hopefully they'll be able to get her back to a place where people care. Because that was just, I mean, that's a brutal injury, man. I mean, that is just... That injury was so horrific. And I know she had a rough go of it early on in her recovery, but she seems to be coming along well. So I really hope when she comes back, it's going to take time, but I hope that they can get her to a place where, you know, she is not getting crickets and that people actually can buy into her as a contender. You know what she would be perfect for? Challenging for that Intercontinental title. She would be like the perfect Intercontinental champion where that title may help elevate her one level higher than where she is now. I could see her really benefiting from there being a mid-card title now. Bobby, thank you for the 5. Italian Stallion, appreciate you, Solomonster. Well, I appreciate you as well, Italian Stallion. I like your name. Retro KOH says, you actually pronounced SAIYAN correctly. The Japanese name is SAIYAN, based on the Japanese word for vegetable. I thought that's what Vegeta was. The Western dub mispronounced it as Saiyan. All right, good. As long as I said it the right way. Super Saiyan. Oz and Glorious, 4 letters. WWE, 4 letters, 1 word. Shit. I think I knew who that was from before I even looked at the name. Sol Ruka's Beaver with $2. Maxxine almost had her Dupri's pop out. I did notice that, yes. Also, I'm formerly known as Kevin Dunn's Beaver. Well, I think that this is a much better name. Oz and Gloria says, hit that like button. Yes, indeed. Hit that like button. Boots with a 5. It's not a bomb, but it is $5. And he says, rest in peace, Anthony Geary, half of Soap super couple Luke and Laura from General Hospital. Their soap wedding was watched by approximately 30 million viewers. Even I know who Luke and Laura are. 30 million viewers. Not quite as many as Hogan Andre on NBC, but close enough. Yeah, I saw that he died. What was he? He was in his late 70s, I think, wasn't he? Sean Kavanaugh. LA Knight has no friends. Hashtag loser. Yeah. Say it with me. LA Knight has no friends.
Yeah!
Yeah. Oz and Glorious. Curious if you still see Jericho returning to a big pop and a likely underwhelming retirement run, or pivoting to stay with AEW where he is being booed and catching please retire chants everywhere. I think a lot of it has to come down to what WWE's intent is in using him. If they legitimately just see him coming in and having a retirement run, I think he stays with AEW. I don't think he wants to come back just to retire. I think he still sees himself as having value, and I think he would want to stick around for, I don't know, maybe a couple more years. And if WWE is open to that, then I think he absolutely ends up back in WWE. If they are insistent that they would only want him back for a retirement run, I think there's a decent chance he stays with AEW for another year or two. But, you know, you put a gun to my head right now. What do I think he's going to do? I think he's coming to WWE. Philip Bowman. Maybe a hot take, but the Devil's Kiss ruined Stephanie's matches for me. I find her attractive, but some men act like they've never seen a woman. That's wrestling fans. Most of them act like they've never seen a woman. At least the ones I've seen on social media. You can't be surprised by this. Have you seen some of the online discourse when it comes to some of these women? Don't tell me you're surprised by this. Abyssal Zones. Any thoughts on Sean Ross Sapp reporting that WWE is supposedly confused by the perception that they buried LA Knight? Were they lying or out of touch? If they were confused by the reaction to the one segment or the one episode of Raw, that's one thing. Because I could understand them saying, well, look, he was in multiple segments. He was in the main event. It's not that people are just upset about what happened on Raw 1 week ago. This has been a constant thing that has been building up over time. So if someone actually said that, they're being disingenuous. That's the word that you're looking for. They're being very disingenuous. You can understand why people, especially people who are like diehard, hardcore fans of his, would be upset. I mean, there's a whole LA Knight movement online. All right, he has his stands, just like a lot of the women have stands, and they're very upset with the way that he's been booked for the majority of this year, and you can understand why. If WWE is truly confused by this, then they are out to lunch. Dude here 73 says Cena giving up and tapping did not necessarily need to happen for Gunther to go over, but I'm loving the extra smugness coming from him because of it, making him even more of an ultimate prick heel. You got to lean into it. You did it. You got to make the most of it. Don't squander it. Oz and Gloria says, C-Jack says Gunther... I don't know who that is. Says Gunther only has 5 moves. Is that true? No, it's not. If you've ever seen Walter wrestle, the answer is no. Philip Bowman, I would begrudgingly pay to see a promo battle between Punk and Scott. Hey, you know what? CM Punk and Scott Steiner. I know he's older now, but I'd love to see that promo. Not the match, but promo battle. Sure. Sign me up. Nash DTV. I missed the stream Saturday. Just wanted to say the finish to the Cena match was awful. People praising it, I think, are trolling. No, they're not. They're not. Alexander, we need more Julia and Stephanie on these shows. Yeah, Julia's done. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, Julia's done. Oz says, as House of Glory commissioner, can you get Priscilla Kelly an AEW gig? No, I would get her a House of Glory gig. It's not my job to get her an AEW gig. But you never know. With more exposure, maybe they take notice. That would be nice. She's been great to work with. Glizzy Bob. This Raw certainly ushered in a new era. LOL. He needs to stop saying that every week. He's making a fool of himself. Don't worry. Give it a few more weeks. It'll be a new era. It'll be another one. I'll have to amend the graphic I put up earlier. Barry MK400, if it was The Miz, at least it would have been kind of funny. With Austin, would it though? With Austin, it's just a guy, really. I got no feelings, no reaction. Yeah, well, he's also been off television, I think, for the better part of this year. So that doesn't help. But people haven't been given a reason to care about this guy. So what reaction did you really expect people to have? Oh, it's Austin Theory. Jeremy says, think Mask Man Angle is a swerve. He's working for Seth, not Vision. Another man might show up soon. Remember, Theory has a history of working for Seth. Well, also working with Johnny Gargano. Maybe you want to throw Johnny's name in there too? I don't know that Seth is involved here. I mean, I just think it was potentially a swerve, and he's not the only masked man that gets revealed. That's what I'm thinking. Arabian Night 2000. Knowing WWE, they'll do AJ versus Gunther on the February 23rd Raw in Atlanta. AJ's hometown, that will be his send-off. His deal ends then. Sadly, it's Brock versus Gunther at WrestleMania. So AJ Styles is going to have his retirement match on Raw. Boy, talk about a fucking slap in the face. Beat him in his hometown on an episode of Raw. Why don't you kick him in the crotch while you're at it? Why don't you spit on him? Why don't you urinate on him? Aaron with the $4.99 says, maybe Theory and others will be revealed as working for Seth, which is why they use the stomp. They infiltrate the Vision and it leads to Seth against Braun. Yeah, but then you got to keep this going for months because Seth is not going to be back on TV anytime soon. He's not even going to begin training to come back until February. So, I mean, you could do it, but I mean, you better have a really good plan drawn out for that. AJ is not from Atlanta. Well, he's from Gainesville. How far is Gainesville, Georgia from Atlanta? Glizzy says, if Mr. Learning Tree comes back, who should retire him? Just so you know, there is a correct answer, and it's Kevin Owens, if he can ever come back. Well, that's the question. Is Kevin Owens going to be able to come back? I mean, who should retire him? I mean, yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I don't care. If he comes back, if they're going to do a retirement storyline for him, I hope it's a good one. Who the person is, I don't give a shit. I really don't. You know, as long as they tell a good story. Otherwise, it really doesn't matter to me. And it doesn't have to be Gunther. MGM Ballin says, when Heyman said LA Knight's friends were going to go after them, I wanted them to pause and start laughing. They totally should have. They all should have busted out laughing at that point. Alex with the 25. Brother Solo, random question for you. Would you consider the Uncle Elmer wedding segment involving Jesse Ventura and Piper to have been the first controversial segment / storyline created by Vince? Any earlier ones that you can think of? Yeah, I mean, probably. I mean, the one that stands out to me. Well, I mean, you talk about controversial, like story. I mean, I don't know what you mean by controversial. I wouldn't say there was anything controversial about the Uncle Elmer wedding. I mean, there was a great rivalry history story there with Larry Zbyszko and Bruno. There was a segment. This was years before. This may have been in the 70s still, but years before the Uncle Elmer stuff, where Vince McMahon took his first bump, got knocked out of the ring during, I think it was some sort of award presentation ceremony. He was an announcer. He got knocked out of the ring over the top rope to the floor. I'm trying to think if that was the... Was that the segment where they destroyed Backlund's belt and then he just wigged out? I don't remember if that was the same night. So no, I mean, there've been controversial wrestling angles for years before Uncle Elmer's wedding. Even Piper and Snuka and the Coconut. Like, that was that 84? Bobby Means, I'm telling you right now, if I'm booking this, I'd have Gunther retire AJ, Jericho, and Brock, all in the same calendar year to build his resume. I don't know, man. I don't think it has to be him for all of them. I think that's kind of lame, honestly. People love to talk about the rub. That's all I heard about this weekend. The rub. The time-honored tradition. Put the guy over. The fuck does he need it for? He's already a made man. You want to do him and AJ, fine, but like, why does he have to retire everybody else? Is nobody else deserving of this rub that everybody talks about? Why are you going to keep giving it to him? Isn't that selfish? Evan Rogers. Gunther is a good heel? Compared to who? Logan Paul? Love Gunther, man. Nick Grasso with a 1999. Prayers to RVD and his wife. She has been taken to the hospital with a serious condition called preeclampsia, and according to Rob, she has to stay in the hospital until she gives birth, which would be on Christmas Day. Yeah, I forgot that she was pregnant. Are they having twins? Aren't they having twins? I forgot that she's pregnant. Well, look, I hope it all works out. That's very scary. Hopefully that's just a precautionary measure. So best wishes to the two of them. Shark with a 10 spot. I was talking to my coworker and he gave a cursed idea of Jay turning heel, beats Jimmy at Mania, and then beats Cody for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam, and then drops the belt to Roman at Saudi Mania. Well, you now have to unfriend that person and never speak to them again. Because that, I don't know what seventh circle of hell he pulled that idea from, but that's where it needs to be kept. Thank you, Shark. Appreciate it. Aaron says, has anything ever come out on why WWE cooled off on Drew in 2010 when he was supposed to face Undertaker at WrestleMania 26 and instead pushed Swagger? Was that around the time of the controversy with him and Tiffany at the Playboy Mansion? There was a controversy with him and his wife. And I'm thinking it might have happened around that time because I know he got heat for it. And Evan Rogers. People who are praising the finish never liked John to begin with. They aren't fans. People who like John know the finish destroys his character. Thank you, Evan. Well, one thing you could say is that this is going to be one of those debated finishes for quite some time. Not quite Montreal-esque, but it will be debated for many years to come by a lot of people. And Navy 4181, watch Gunther retire Mysterio and rip his mask off. See, I wouldn't mind that, but I still feel like it's a lost opportunity if you don't do Rey and Dom with like the mask on the line. I still feel like when Rey's ready to hang it up, that's the way to go. Because that would be crazy heat for Dom. Anyway, we blasted the likes goal and we hit the bonus goal in the chat, which means we get to do double Be the Booker here tonight. You guys earned it. Let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to be the Booker.
It's time. We get to be the Booker. It's always fun. Fun times indeed. See, we've done a bunch of doubles over the last, I'd say, week or two, which is great to see. You guys have been bringing the heat. I appreciate it during the holidays and all year long. All right, Tag Team Be the Booker is going to kick us off here, and we have the Kings of Wrestling. I saw them wrestle live many times. A great tag team. Claudio Castagnoli. And actually, the first time I saw them wasn't even in CZW. It was in Ring of Honor. Might have been during that period where they did the ROH CZW Invasion storyline. But anyway, Chris Hero and Claudio, the Kings of Wrestling. I wish they had a run in WWE. They would have fit in great in that tag team division. And they're going to be taking on the Young Bucks. I believe all four men work for AEW. Chris Hero works behind the scenes. Claudio's still killing it. He's still a beast. One of the strongest men in all of wrestling. And in women's Be the Booker, we have Solo is better than Triple H. Well, we'll see. I'm not done booking this card yet. You may have just jinxed it. We have Bayley. Will Bayley hold that title? Well, not that one, but will Bayley hold the championship over her head again one day? The world title, not the Intercontinental. That's the question. Bayley is going to go one-on-one with Stephanie Vaquer. That could very well be a match that we get in 2026. Could very well happen. And our main event begins with Latino Heat. The former undisputed champion, Eddie Guerrero. Still missed to this very day. Oh, Eddie Guerrero. He's going to be getting in the ring with Al Snow and Head. And I love Eddie. I hate to do it. Eddie Guerrero against Al Snow in the main event of Be the Booker. That just ain't going to cut it. We get no clean sweep. See, I wanted to sit here and tell you guys that it is the start of a new era here in Be the Booker. But I can't do that. But the good news is we get one more bite at the apple because we have one more round left to go. Frog Splash to Head. Yeah, what a main event that sounds like. All right, so we're opening. Look at this. We're curtain jerking with a Hell in a Cell match. We're going to do a Hell in a Cell women's match. That's what we're going to do. We are opening the show. We're opening night 2. See, I got Triple H beat. He's 4-match Levesque. I got 3 matches. 3 matches on night 1, 3 matches on night 2. We have Rhea Ripley. She has wiped the mist from her eyes. She's going to be in this... Get out of here. She's going to be in this Hell in a Cell match. Where'd that come from? There will be blood against Willow Nightingale. That's what this was designed for, man. These like fantasy type matches that make you go, fuck, I wish we could get that match. What a match that would be, too. Hell in a Cell or no Hell in a Cell. Rhea Ripley and Willow Nightingale. I love Willow. I think Willow's great. And Willow, she's had some hardcore matches. I mean, she had that street fight with Chris Statlander at All Out last year, I think it was. She's been in Anarchy in the Arena. She was in Blood and Guts. She could go. So could Rhea. I think they'd get down and dirty in there. All right. Solomonster's choice. I get to choose. Oh man, I'm so indecisive. I don't know what to pick. What kind of match should we have here? What kind of match are we going to do? I don't know. Give me some recommendations. I'll bat them around in my head here before I make a choice. Oh boy, the chat's going too quick. Let's see here. We got we're not doing a blindfold match. Ladder match, blue cage. All right, yeah, you know what? I like that stipulation. Where's that? Lucky Dog says loser gets his head shaved. There you go. How about that? A hair match. We're going to do a hair match with the men. The loser of this match, and I'll just say it right now, the loser of the match is going to be the second name that I choose. That person is going to get his head shaved. We've got Buddy Matthews. Who's getting their head shaved? Who's going cue ball here? Psycho Sid against Buddy Matthews. Not a bad match. Bald Sid, though, without the curly hair. God, what would he look like bald? That would be weird. I'm so used to him with the Orphan Annie haircut. You know what? The bald Sid would still be just as intimidating as hair Sid. It's a good thing we didn't land on somebody who was already bald. See, in that case, we would have to reverse the stipulation. So if I landed on somebody who was bald, then they would be forced to wear a wig. That's how that would have worked. Yes, tall Austin. He would be like a tall Stone Cold if Stone Cold was 6'8" or 6'9". That's great. Tall Austin. Well, we're 2 for 2 so far. Now we got to book a tag team match. Don't fuck this up. A tag team dog. You can't do a tag team dog collar match. I mean, I guess you can. You'd have 2 dog collars. Oh, man, that doesn't really... it's not really a stipulation, though, that's meant for a tag team match. We got to pick a different one. That doesn't work. There we go. All right. This is more like it. Oh, FT. Well, yes, FT. Yes, of course. FTR and the Briscoes. How could I forget? Yeah, but I don't really look at that as a great tag team match stipulation. I mean, obviously they made it work, but not everybody can be FTR and the Briscoes. You know, what if I land on Techno Team 2000? Then what? We'll stick to TLC. We'll stick with the TLC stipulation. This will work better. I mean, the Briscoes and FTR was like once in a lifetime. That whole trilogy was amazing. Nick Aldis calls for you to add a stipulation. I just picked a stipulation. I picked the stipulation that was perfect, and now you're making me choose another one? What a terrible general manager he is. All right, we wash it away. We lost the dog collar. We lost TLC. And now we go to Ultimate X, a tag team Ultimate X match, where the partners will have to crawl across the cables and pull down the X, and whoever gets it first wins. This has been quite the journey here, going from stipulation to stipulation. All right. Oh my God. We have Razor and Jesus Christ, Akam and Razor. Akam and Razor. We have the authors of pain. They're going to be in an Ultimate X match. I think you already know where this is headed. Against the Butcher and the Blade. You know, I just realized in both rounds of Be the Booker, we died in the main event. The main event is what killed it. The main event is what held it back from being a clean sweep. That's true, though. Four out of 6 is not bad. Not the outcome I was hoping for. But I'm glad we got the bonus round. I like Rhea Ripley and Willow Nightingale. That's my match right there. All right, final super chats here. Glizzy Bob says, better Bullet Club leader, Finn Balor or AJ? I mean, Balor's like the OG. It's kind of hard to vote against him. AJ's run there was actually very short. But man, he was the fucking man when he was leading the Bullet Club and he had that IWGP title. To me, that's like peak AJ. Oh man. I'm more of an AJ guy, but I got to go Balor. As a Bullet Club leader, I got to go Balor. Arabian Night, Julia needs to go to AEW ASAP. It's over in WWE for her. I mean, look, they may try again. I have no faith in them. I have no faith. Let them prove me wrong, but I have no faith. And Leopoldo with a 5. Did you notice Cole end the Cena Gunther rewind by saying, tonight professional wrestling killed sports entertainment? I don't know. I just found that interesting. Well, he said that on Saturday at the end of the match. You know, as if they're different. But that was the idea, that Gunther is a traditionalist. You know, the mat is sacred. He is like an old school pro wrestler, black boots, black trunks, nothing flashy about him. Goes out there, wrestles you, beats you up. And Cena was representative of an era of sports entertainment and, you know, bologna, fudge, and mustard and all the other stuff that he did during that era. He was a product of Vince McMahon, not a product of Vince McMahon's semen like Shane, but he was a product of Vince McMahon. But thank you, Leopoldo. So there will be, now I mentioned SmackDown is a tape show on Friday, so just be aware of that. But there will be no SmackDown review. I don't know why Austin Theory just popped up on my screen there. There will be no SmackDown review because I will not be here. I will be at the House of Glory show. So that is coming up on Friday at the NYC Arena in Queens. It is our final show of the year, Winter Warfare. And look who's there in the graphic. Matt and Jeff, the Hardys, their first defense of the HOG tag team titles, and it's against Zilla Fatu and Lance Anoa'i. I'm going to try to bring more gold into the bloodline. Amazing Red, Mustafa Ali, Charles Mason, Matt Cardona, Shotzi. They're all going to be on the card. It's coming up on Friday night. So that is where I will be. So there will be no SmackDown review on Friday. I will be live with you, though, on Wednesday night. It is a 3-hour combined Dynamite Collision, and then I will be live for the post show here on the channel. And that'll be it as far as the live streams for the week. But that's all I got for you. Luis with a super chat. To the morons that wanted to riot on Saturday, get your head out of your rear end. This is why we can't have nice things. Thank you, John Cena. Thank you for being champion. Thank you, Luis. Solo salute from Milwaukee. Salute from New York. All the way to Milwaukee. Maybe I'll make it over there one day. That's one place I haven't been to. Is that the cheese state? That may not be good for me. But maybe one day. Maybe one day I'll make it over there. Is the Hog Library on the Triller TV Plus? Yes. I don't know, like not literally all of the events we've ever done, but yes, our events are archived there. The ones that have aired on Triller or what used to be Fight, the back catalog is on there. So the answer is yes. And that's where I'll be too, because we'll be streaming that. If you can't be at the building, we're almost sold out. But if you can't be there live, I'll be on the call on Triller on Friday night. But of course, before all of that, I will be on Tuesday Night Titans. We got a big show over on JD's channel. That'll be coming up tomorrow night. We'll be talking John Cena and everything else. Should be a very interesting episode of TNT tomorrow. Live. An explosive night of Tuesday Night Titans. And I'm going to get on out of here. I have a 5 a.m. wake up because I am doing some media in the morning for House of Glory for the show coming up on Friday. Should be something fun. Follow me on social media. I'll let you guys know. But yes, I have a very early wake up. Leopoldo says, have you heard Cena takes Stevie and Bully in particular brought up? No, I have my takes, and that's what I have focused on. Everybody's had multiple takes. I've ingested very little of it, but I'm sure a lot of it will be talked about and will come out tomorrow night. Of that, I am sure. Yes, Dynamite, that's right, they are in Manchester this week. Probably about 10,000 fans. So a much bigger Dynamite crowd than we usually get. It's going to be a big show, actually, for them on Wednesday. So it'll be nice to have a bigger venue, should be loud. I mean, they're in the UK, so the UK fans are always great. Anyway, be well, stay safe. Have yourselves a good night. I'm going to try to get some sleep and not oversleep my alarm. And I will see you guys tomorrow. And then back here on this channel live on Wednesday for the Dynamite recap. Until then, take care, guys.